People say good morning and it's still a bad morning. And sometimes people say good morning and it becomes a good morning. Depends on the answer. So right now it's not too much. You can say good morning and it'll still be a boring day. Or it can be beautiful. You know, I don't know really, I've never had the privilege of listening to Ray teaching the Bible. And I don't know what you think inside of your beautiful mind, what the Bible is all about. So just, maybe for those few minutes I'm with you, just inhale what I'm saying. What are we most hungry for? What are we most hungry for? You know, I'll ask somebody, what are you hungry for? He'll say to me, you know, I'm really hungry for bacon and nuts. What do you think of that person? I wouldn't waste my time on that person. Someone else will tell you, you know what I'm really hungry for? Hey, I need more money in my bank. No, not for me. You know what I'm hungry for? I'm hungry for something heavenly. A little bit of heaven. A little bit of heaven. A little bit of heaven. And here I'm coming a little bit, you know, this week we're beginning to read the Bible again. And the first thing we are learning, the guy created man. God says to him, don't eat from the tree of knowledge, only eat from the tree of life. So let it be clear to you, you know, this, I mean, every portion of the book, this especially, unless you have a good teacher, unless you study with all the deepest commentaries, you just don't get it. Then he asks you, if God didn't want Adam to eat from the tree of knowledge, so why did God make the tree? God didn't make the tree just to hang around. Well, the answer is very, very simple. We're waiting for you. Obviously, God wanted him to eat the tree of knowledge also. And knowledge is an unbelievable gift from heaven. Imagine, God forbid, our mind wouldn't work. God forbid. We'll all be in an instant asylum, God forbid. It might be beautiful there, but I'd rather sit here. But the answer is very simple. Adam was supposed to eat first the tree of life. First he eat the tree of life. Then the tree of knowledge. And let me explain it to you in a very simple way. What's your name? Dana. Okay, I meet Dana, right? And she's a beautiful lady, right? So if I'm in the tree of knowledge, my first thought is she good or bad? Is she rich or poor? Is she Jewish or not? Is she fine or not? It was good and bad, right? Or she looks at me and she says, hey. Terrible, right? But imagine if I look at her with eyes of tree of life. First I look at tree of what it is. But then, since you're living in the world of knowledge, after that I ask her also, what's your name, what do you do, what are your plans? You know, tree of knowledge is good, but the tree of life has to be first. And I want you to know something. Where is life coming from? Life is something heavenly. You know what I mean heavenly? I don't mean it's up there in the air and you have to go up as a missile to get it. Heavenly means that it's not confined. Heavenly is something so special. You know, why did Moses go up to heaven to bring down the Bible? He could have said, God sent me the Bible Federal Express and I'll print it and I will give everyone a free copy. It doesn't go this way. You know what the Bible is all about? The Bible is my connection to something higher, to something deeper. You know, beautiful friends, sometimes we meet people and we haven't seen them in 10 years and they are just as small and as stupid as idiotic as they were 10 years ago. Didn't move 1 inch. You know what the saddest thing in the world is? When you see a baby when it's 2 years old, and 20 years later it still looks like it's 2 years old. It's never called retarded, right? But so to speak, adults, you meet them when they are 20, then when you meet them when they are 40, they haven't grown an inch mentally and spiritually, but we don't call them retarded, we call them businessmen, right? Or maybe they're leaders, world leaders. Retarded. So I want you to know, the Bible is not just another book. The Bible is not another book. And the Bible is also not a book you study between one day and the other day. The Bible is soft. The Bible is soft. Soft. And again, I'm crying. Don't just read the Bible in King James Version. No. They always tell my friends, if you read the Bible in King James Version, you might as well read paper plate, it's more exciting. At least something good going on here. I think I mentioned it one time. Let me ask you just, before we get involved, let me ask you on a very stupid thing. It says in the Bible, according to King James, it says, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Let me ask you something. Do you really think Moses is up there in heaven standing before God, and God says to him, someone knocks out your tooth, grab him, knock his tooth. Would you do that? I'm asking you, you're not God. Especially, it doesn't say if you did it lawfully or not. Someone knocks out your tooth, knock out his tooth. And for that I need God. So obviously it's a terrible translation. You know what it says? In Hebrew, see, King James made a good person, but he didn't know Hebrew properly. Something says for that time, because also about the island. No. Broken. I would have thought at the end.
garden.
Have you ever seen people long sleeves before?
No.
The book has nothing to say. So you I want you to know at the beginning I created heaven and earth. Stupid. See the message to it. And then here's something else. It says God created heaven and earth. Why doesn't it say God created the cosmos? Why does it have to specify heaven and earth? And also, if you a little bit Hebrew, say Eser Shemayim, the heaven, but Eser Earth, and the earth. It could have said created heaven. In Hebrew, you could say the earth and the earth. Es means heaven. Everything. Okay, this is what it is. Just to give you a taste. The truth is that every word of the Bible is giving us strength to live. Every word is a heavenly message. Every word is a heavenly message. Let me ask you, we all in our own lives, what's the most important thing for us? I wish I could begin again. I wish I could begin again. Let me ask you, where's the strength coming from to begin again? You go to a health food store to give me vitamins to begin again. I go to my therapist. You know what the Bible says? When God created the world, He put in the world, in the nature of the world, that you can always begin again. And if you know good Hebrew, it says not Reshit, at the beginning. Beis Reshit means God put into the world that there are always two beginnings. There are always two beginnings. You know why there's no peace in the world? They don't have enough guts to begin again. They want to make peace on top of all the war. They make it war. All the hate they kids from now on. It doesn't do this way. You don't need to. What happened to the world before God created it? There was nothing there. There was nothing there. You know, friends, as some of you maybe know, it's not imposing upon you. You know, according to our tradition, every month, once a month, you have to greet the new moon. Because the moon is not, the moon is not the same moon from last month. Fellow, please give me your attention, please. The moon is not the same of last month. And here, what you open your eyes. We always think that the moon is like a little Nebuch light, like a little flashlight. Doesn't work so good. Sometimes it's working, sometimes not. Sometimes the battery is on, it stays in. God's battery goes out, goes down. I don't know if you taught them, you know, God created the sun and the moon were both the same. Then the Holy Commentary says the moon came before God and says to God, how can there be two kings in the same world with the same amount of light? So God says to the moon, okay, you make it so small. So then the moon became small. And the way the moon is small is that it becomes absolutely non-existent, then it starts all over again, becomes full, goes down again, starts all over again. And maybe some of you know that we Jewish people count after the moon. That's what it is. And here I want you to open your eyes. The sun is the outside light. Outside light. Have you ever seen two people rub each other stare at the sun? Why not? You know why? Because the sun is not the light of love. The sun is the light of working outside, doing business, steal, rob, kill a little bit, whatever your profession is. You know what the moon is all about? The moon is the inner light. And you know, the inner life is always small. The inner life is so deep. So. What's the first sign of an inside person? The inside person is, you know, if I tell you I'm always madly in love with you, I'm lying. On the sun level, it's true, right? On the outside, it's fine. Inside, one day I'm on, one day I'm on. One day I'm happy, one day I'm miserable. One day I want to be a Jew, one day I want to convert. It's going on and off all the time. But what's the most important thing in the inside life? The inside life is the strength to begin again. Always. And I want you to know, without getting about, because it's so really awesome. When the moon says to God, there cannot be two lights the same. You know what the moon was telling God? There has to be more light in there. You give us two lights the same. Where's the real light? Where is the real inside light? Inside of the inside of the inside. So God says to the moon, okay, you carry that inside light. You know what's so special about the moon? Two things. First of all, when the moon is small, getting smaller, 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 you know how often the moon has changed already? You'd say, for thousands of years, you know how many years, and the moon still has the courage to start again? But one more thing. The moment the moon is full, the moon realizes, I need more than that. Have you ever seen people who are full of themselves? I'm full. Don't you want more? And here I want you to open your heart. A person, in order to make it in this world on an inside level, two things have to be clear to you. I always have to begin again. And second, whenever I'm full, I'm not satisfied. I want more than that. I want so much more. So much more. You know when you love somebody very much, how do you know if you really love them? Listen. If you want to love them so much more, then you love them. And if you think, oh, I love them, I'll love them. You know why we made the golden calf? We stood on Mount Sinai and we are full with ourselves. I stood on Mount Sinai, right? I spoke to God. I know him, right? God, yeah. He told me everything. So, where's more? And you know something? If you don't want more, you lose it. Nothing right. And you know when Moses came back with the 2 tablets again? You know what God gave us the oral law, you know what that means? The most unbelievable privilege you can always add, more. You know what we Jewish people did with the 5 books of Moses? How much we added? How much that? And still, today, every day, there are new books coming out. The deepest books in the world. Always more. So much more. I want to share with you a story. It's a personal story. I was sitting on a plane, I didn't have a toilet to heaven. I was sitting on a plane from New York to Boston, and it was one day after someone's toilet like this week. And I just had with me some commentaries on the first portion of the week, on Genesis. So, next to me is a person, a non-Jewish brother, and he says to me, what kind of a book is this? I says, it's commentaries on the Bible. He says, I'm so much into the Bible, it tells me the whole story. And we talk about everything. And then we have about 5 minutes left till we arrive in Boston. He says, do me a favor, give me over one good teaching. And it was only a few minutes left. I said to him, I want you to know, the word Bereshit doesn't mean at the beginning. The word Bereshit means with the beginning. You know, if you were to ask me, what's the ingredient of the world? What did God put in? God put into the world the power of beginning. Imagine you want to commit suicide. Then you decide to go for a little walk by the ocean. You don't want to commit suicide anymore. Because nature, do you know that? It's proven that people who live out in nature don't commit suicide. Remember, they commit suicide always in the city. People who are cut off from nature commit suicide. Because nature has the power of beginning. Imagine it again, when you put some water over your face. So I told him this. 10 years later, I gave a concert in Boston. And suddenly a man walks in, hugs me and kisses me and cries. And his wife and his daughter came also, and the wife says to me, do you remember that you were once on a plane going from New York to Boston? And he talked to you about the Bible? Well, I looked at him, my brother from Maine. Yeah, listen to the story. When I met him, he was a multimillionaire. Sometime later, he went bankrupt, completely bankrupt. He didn't tell his wife and his daughter, but he was bankrupt. He decided to commit suicide. That's it. He buys himself a pistol, and he decided, a very orderly personality of his time, he decided to commit suicide at 5 o'clock. And he is sitting on his desk, he has a pistol, and he has 10 more minutes till 5. Since he is a religious person, he always has the Bible on his desk. He said, the last 10 minutes of my life I'll study the Bible. He opens the Bible, it says, the beginning. Suddenly, remember, God, the world. Everything, the air is full of it. So you know what he did? They put the pistol inside, called up his wife and his daughter to please come over immediately and talk to me. So I said to them, you know, I have to admit, sad enough, I want to commit suicide. But then I remember a teaching from the Rabbi gave me over from New York. The world is full of beginning. Always beginning. So anyway, so she said to thank you. I'm still in touch with him a little bit. Okay, now listen to me. Do you know that the tree of knowledge does not know of beginning? The tree of knowledge only knows, are you good, are you bad? You know, why is the punishment for eating the tree of knowledge that there's death in the world? And let me make it clear to you, friends, when we talk about death, it doesn't mean after 70 years, after 100 years you die. You know what death means? Sad enough that nothing lasts. Today I love you like crazy. Tomorrow morning you meet me on the street and I have trouble remembering your name. You know, yesterday I was fired, I want peace in the world. You think I'm unbelievable. The next day you meet me on the street and I walk on with a pistol. Yeah. Nothing lasts. Nothing lasts. You know, I was just so broken. A few weeks ago, I was in the office of someone who got married 2 years ago. I was at the wedding, and I thought it's the biggest love affair in the world. Sad enough, I had to get divorced. So while I'm there, both of them are good friends with me. So while I'm there, he gets a call from his, so to speak, ex-wife. He talked to her like a policeman. So hard, so hard. I said to him, I don't think so. Even if you divorce somebody, that doesn't mean you have to talk to them like they're not human. What happened to you? So he says to me, yeah, I loved her at one time, but now everything is dead. You know what it means? The tree of knowledge doesn't last. Knowing good or bad doesn't last. You know what the tree of life is? Ah, the tree of life. Tree of life is so good. Tree of life is there's something available. It is available. If you only want it. It is available to attach yourself to something that you really love. You have to sit down, or you cannot do anything, okay? You want to sit with Barbara or something? Or you want to sit with Snowson? He's one of my tough folks, brother Nick. Don't you want to listen what I'm saying, Mr. Paul? Yeah? Okay. Let's go back. Okay, God says to Adam, you don't mind if I'm talking about it because it's a portion of the tree, that's okay?
It's excellent. Everything you say is beautiful.
Well, it's not true, but thank you for lying, brother.
I give my students the same privilege.
See, I had no idea what Ray wants me to do this morning, so whatever comes to that. No, sir. Yeah. So God says to Eve, because he ate the tree of knowledge, it would be very painful for our children. So here I want to share something awesome with you. You know the Holy Baal Shem Tov, one of our greatest holiest masters, about 250 years ago, one of like, in the chain of those holy mystics we have, he's like one of the 3-4 greatest in the history of the Jews. He says something unbelievable. He says, in about 200 years, he said, Eve will have fixed the tree of knowledge. And this will be the essence test. That having babies will not be dangerous anymore. Unbelievable. You know, today, you know, in even 100 years ago, 50 years ago, how many women died? Think of today. I don't say it's as not painful like eating ice cream, but it's not. And this is what he said. You know what the sign is that Eve has fixed? The tree of knowledge? Very simple. Let me ask something else. Why did the snake come to Eve and ask her to eat the tree of knowledge? Why didn't he come to Adam? And here I want you to do something awesome. You know, Picasso, right? Take Picasso, makes paintings. Every painting, the last painting is better than the painting before, right? And humanly speaking, even by God, later on, it's always better than before. So Eve was created after Adam. So the truth is that Eve is a much higher being than Adam. The fact is that Adam cannot bring children to the world because he is not connected that much to life. Because isn't the most godlike thing to give life to somebody? Let me tell you something. When you meet a person that smiles at you like Jesus, how much godlike are they? Not so much. When you meet a person and just being in their presence, Mama gives you life. Unbelievable. That means there's something godly about them. So anyway, so the snake says to Eve, you want to be godlike? And let it be easy that Eve was not the dog, she understood. I'll eat an apple, I'll be godly, everybody understands. Suddenly getting involved. You know, Eve had this feeling, there's something godly about me. There's something so holy about me. So the snake says to her, you know what's the most godly thing you can do? You gotta know what's right and what's wrong. Have you ever seen those right and wrong people, how disgusting they are? Everything is right or everything is wrong. And they are always right, naturally. You know, I always say, I'd rather sit with someone who was wrong in hell next to someone, than next to someone who's always right in hell. People are always right, they're so bad. Full of themselves. So the snake says to Eve, why didn't you eat the tree of knowledge? Then you'll be godlike. So God says to her, you know, I'm so sorry. And you, friends, all of us, you know what so many young people can't stand their parents today? They don't know how it was 100 years ago. Because all our parents tell us this is good. This is good. One young lady once told me, I want you to know the saddest day in my year is Thanksgiving. Because I have to go visit my parents. Okay, she says, for breakfast, my mother gives me on the plate all the mistakes I made until I was 20. For lunch, I get all the mistakes I made in the year of 20 till I'm 39. But then comes the big thing for dinner. For dinner, I get all the mistakes which my mother knows already that I will make later on. What a gewalt mother, right? What a beautiful mother. You know what children need? Children need the tree of life. Tree. And you know what we all need? What the world is desperate for? Desperate. For the tree of life. I want you to know, my beautiful friends, you know, when someone goes wrong, do you think by telling them they did wrong you help them? They know they did wrong. You know what people do wrong? They don't have enough energy to do right. It takes a lot of energy, a lot of instinct. And you know, when you put the tree of knowledge of somebody who did wrong, not only you take away the last ounce of self-confidence, you take away the last ounce. Do you know what tree of life is? Tree of life is it gives you so much life, so much strength. You don't want to do wrong. You know who are all the criminals in the world? You know, sometimes I have the privilege, a lot of times, to play in prisons. Do you know what kind of wonderful people are locked up in prison? The best merchandise in the world. I want you to know something, I'll never forget it. Just a few months ago, I played in Albany. This is real maximum security prison. And you know, you don't go there for stealing a book or stealing a bagel. If you're there, you did something happen. So I gave a concert. There were a lot of people there. And at the end, I made it my business to hug everyone and kiss everyone. And there was one brother who was ready by the door. He comes back. He's 22 years old. He says to me, he says, brother, I need another hug. This is because I don't know when I'll ever get a hug again. You know how sad this is? You know how I'm happy? You know what that means? Maybe all he needed was one extra hug. But you see, the tree of knowledge doesn't operate on kissing and hugging. The tree of knowledge doesn't know of trust. The tree of knowledge just say, is it right, is it wrong? Is it good, is it bad? So you hear, friends, something is happening to the world. Something is happening to the world. I'm sure it's clear to you that the tree of knowledge is on its way out. The tree of knowledge is absolutely on its way out. You know what people are so dissatisfied with education besides the class of the way? Because the education is still run on the level of good or bad. You know what the whole idea of giving marks to kids, little kids, the cutest in the world? I want to know if you're good or bad. I want to know if you're good in English or bad in English. I'd like to know if you're good in history or bad in history. You know, one of the greatest giants for us, the late Chief Rabbi Cook from Israel, he writes a letter. And he writes, you know there's so many criminals in the world? Because they're going to school, but they are not learning what they need. They're not learning what they need. But let's assume someone sitting there and we pump into the spoils of the girl, 1 to 1 is 2, 4 and 4 is 8, and they just don't make it. You know why? Because their soul is needed. This is not what they need. They need something else. And it says, you know what the downfall of education is? We're putting kids of the same age all at the same time. It has to be, he said, just yourself. Talk to every kid. Find out what they need. And then maybe 10 kids need this, 10 kids need something else. And maybe 5 kids. And I can't forget that letter from you. So deep. And forget about education even in our yeshivas, right? Most kids get lost. This is not what they need. This is not what they need. I want you to know, friend, sometimes you meet a friend and they're a good friend. If it's only good or bad, you'll forget it. Sometimes you meet somebody, it's not good or bad. It's heavenly. It's life-giving. It's so special. It's so good. I want you to know, I know Megan is teaching a little bit about Israel. I want to just tell you something. Do you know, have you ever seen someone standing in front of Rockefeller Center in New York? What's the name of the biggest building in Montreal? I don't know. Whatever it is, Rockefeller Center in New York, tallest building in the world. Have you ever seen someone standing there and say, gives me life, standing there, tears rolling down their cheeks. Oh, what a building, oh, hey, what a building. Never seen it yet, unless somebody's crazy. But you know, when you come to Israel, to Jerusalem, when you stand by the Holy Wall, if you're Jewish, if you're not, whatever you are, wherever you're coming, you know what happens to you? You see life. Suddenly you're filled with life. It gives you so much strength. And I want you to know something else. How do you know if something fills you with life or not? Very, very simple. If something fills you with life, then you walk away and the world looks more beautiful to you as before. If you walk away and the world looks still rotten to the core, then it didn't give you life. You know, I'm standing in front of Rockefeller Center, look up. Then I come down and I look at the people. I think, what a world. No, still looks stupid. New York is still dirty, and I think disgusting. It's not true, but let's assume I think so. When you walk away from the Holy Wall, I want you to do something else. It's true. Have you ever watched people walking away from Rockefeller Center? They look, then they walk away. By the Holy Wall. When you walk away, on every corner you turn around. One moment. One moment. And here I'm just going to show it to you. You know when Adam was driven out from paradise? Adam was driven out from paradise not because he ate the forbidden apple. I want you to remember this. God says to him, what you do? He didn't say I ate. He said to God, I will eat from the tree of knowledge. You know what he was saying to God? I give up on myself. I'll never do right again. God says, listen, if you give up on yourself, you cannot be in paradise. You know, if Adam would have said, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I won't do it anymore. God said, okay, forget it. I'll begin again. Adam didn't have enough guts to tell God what he could do. You know, beautiful friends, by them. You know, friends, what a privilege. What a heavenly privilege to have the guts to begin all the time. But you know what the deepest depth is? Not only have the guts to begin this yourself, also don't give up on people. Don't give up on people. Because you never know. I want to sing another song with you in the meantime. I would like you to ask me something, you know? Because I really don't know where you're at. What happened?
Nobody was there.
Yeah.
Both places.
Can you call again? You can have her. Anybody here? Okay, let's hear something from you. Anything. Good or bad. Want to ask me anything or tell me anything. Doesn't have to be clever. Because only the tree of knowledge always wants to be clever. The tree of life doesn't mind being a fool sometimes. Have you ever noticed only fools always want to be clever? Because they're so afraid someone will find out that they're idiots. So they always have to be clever. But the person who's really clever, who gets us, that's something special. So that. You know, in our tradition, whenever I open the Bible, I kiss the book, you know. I open a prayer book, I kiss the book. I don't know any of you ever kiss a book of history, psychology. I have to share something unbelievable with you. You know, Simple Torah, I don't know if they told you in our tradition, just last week. No, last week, I'm talking 2 days, last week. Not 2 days ago, please. You know, you take the Bible, the Torah scroll, and you dance with it for 48 hours. And 2 years ago, you know, sometimes I'm in America and sometimes I'm in Israel. 2 years ago I was in Israel. So on Simple Torah night, they have, in all the big cities, the whole city comes to the marketplace and they dance with the Torah. And I had the privilege of lit. I think I was invited to Chodesh Sharon, the city. And they told me that the mayor of the city really is a real, so to speak, secular Jew. He doesn't believe in God, but he just came because he likes it. Okay, the mayor, Mazel Tov, hello, how are you? And then they give us Sefer Torahs, so we gave him one also. At the end of the council, he told me something, you know, I changed my mind. I'm a secular Jew, right? For me, the Bible is just another book, right? Nothing. Because I want you to know, I walked around with the Torah, and thousands of kids jumped on me to kiss the Torah. So much heart, so much deep, so much dedication. So I was kidding. This book is heaven.